Hello everyone, it's Tim from Square One Fitness, and today I want to talk about supplements a little bit. I get some questions all the time about what supplements I should take, what they do, what's important, what's not important. So we got to look at what the word supplement means. Supplement means to fill in, supplement your diet. So you got to take in consideration what you need that you're not getting enough of that you would supplement, and then there's just some that are just for fun. So the biggest one is protein, and do you need to take protein if you're working out trying to gain muscle? No, you don't, unless you're not meeting your protein requirements. So if you're trying to get 200 grams say a day, and you're tracking your food and you're always coming up short, then something like a protein shake would be a good thing to do, especially when you're on a very low calorie diet. Because sure, you could get that protein from steak, which is way more fun, but it's also going to have fat in there that's going to raise your calories for the day. So there's not many things that are as low calorie and as high protein as a protein shake. Now here's the whole thing about protein shakes. They have very expensive ones that are like whey hydrolyzed or whey isolate, and then there's just whey concentrate. So the difference is whey concentrate doesn't have all the cholesterol and sodium and fat and that kind of thing removed. Now, is there much fat anyway? Not typically. Now, we'll say like a whey concentrate, you're looking at 2 grams of fat for say 20 grams of protein, which is, pretty low as far as a protein source goes. But then in a like a isolate, you may have 1 gram of fat, for 20 grams of protein. And then like a hydrolyzed, you may have 0 grams of fat for 20 grams of protein. And then also the cholesterol trends down the same way. So the cholesterol is going to be higher in the concentrate. It's going to be higher, it's going to be lower in the isolate, and even completely none usually in a hydrolyzed. Now the price on those jumps a lot. Concentrate being the cheapest, isolate being the next most expensive, and then the most expensive being hydrolyzed. Now, my thought process on that is if you're trying to watch your cholesterol and you're trying to watch your fat, do it somewhere else. Don't do it with your protein powder, just because it's such a minimum amount anyway for the price, because you can cut out fat and cholesterol a bunch of other places that won't cost you an arm and a leg if you're trying to buy a whey protein powder. So buy pretty much any whey protein powder, as long as it's a reputable brand, a decent brand, and the taste is good, so you actually use it, is fine. If something like Ghost is a good one. I don't actually have my own protein powder anymore. I used to, but Ghost is good one. The taste is good. It's got a little bit more carbs in it than some of the other ones, but we're still talking like 5-6 grams. And if you're trying to cut carbs, cut it somewhere else. Don't try to cut on your protein powder, because those 5 or 6 are not going to make and break you. And your protein shake is going to taste a lot better and be a lot more affordable. So that would be one of the most common and most recommended supplements, period. And then someone asked me the other day, which I don't get this question a lot, but about how to increase their carbs. And most people are like, oh, poor person has to increase their carbs. It's so horrible. But increasing your carbs without increasing all your other macros sometimes can be a little bit challenging, because you're like, well, I can just eat donuts. That's plenty of carbs and sugar and things like that. But you're also going to be increasing your fat quite a bit or something like that. So an easy way, a supplement that you could do would be there's various carb powders like a maltodextrin, dextrose powders. You can order them on Amazon for super cheap, because carbs are very, very cheap. $10 you can probably, buy 1,000 grams of carbs for $10, in powder form. But you can also do like a Gatorade. If you just want to buy it locally, you can buy powder Gatorade, or if you're on the run and you just need extra carbs, you can buy just regular Gatorade. It's fine. It's just dextrose sugar, not a big deal. The big thing is people, I don't want to say that carbs are carbs. There are some differences in how fast they digest, but as far as the big picture, a carbohydrate is a carbohydrate. It's 4 calories per carbohydrate. That's what you need. That's what matters. So that one's kind of easier to increase, and it's also very cheap. That's why everyone's overweight. Carbs are cheap. More protein isn't so much, and you can take in a lot of carbs drinking them, and a lot of calories that way too as well, without filling you up. So a lot of times if you're trying to gain a lot of weight, that's something you might want to do. You can mix it with your protein, is great. Carbs around a workout is awesome, and protein around a workout is awesome too. So any of the macronutrients around a workout is when your body's like a sponge and sucking up all that. So after a workout, or even during a workout, because if you take carbs during a workout, your pumps will actually be better. So that would be a window there, but you can put them anywhere if you need to get more carbs. So then we'll get into some of the more exotic things, like creatine. Get asked about creatine a lot. If you eat a ton of meat, like I do, I'm doing, a pound of beef every day. Typically, it's my favorite protein source is beef. So I'm taking in some creatine. You may take it and you won't notice as much. But, some people just don't notice creatine as much. And then the whole water weight from that. The water weight isn't like, if you show someone your belly and go, this is from creatine, you're wrong. It's not. Creatine water is mostly held in the muscle, in the cell of the muscle. So it actually make you look a little bit more full, muscle fullness, which is a good thing. And it'll level out after a little bit. I always recommend taking creatine monohydrate. It's the most studied by far. The fancier creatines, they're basically just given reasons that they can charge more for the creatine. And it's not necessarily better, it's not necessarily worse, but the studies are on monohydrate about 5 grams a day. That's it. It's one of the cheapest ones as well. It does say add a little bit of weight because you have water, but it's usually most typically if you're going to add weight, you want it to look like muscle, and that's what it will, because it will fill your muscles a little bit, and it's nothing crazy, a few pounds maybe. So that's more of an optional one. Your diet's not really lacking in creatine typically, unless you're vegan or vegetarian. Maybe you might be lacking in some, but also creatine is actually good for your brain as well. That's been a new thing over the last few years. A lot of like nootropics will put creatine in there because it actually can help your brain as well. And then some of the more optional things like a pre-workout, which is a must for me. And a pre-workout, let's not get crazy, it's a fancy energy drink. And that's what I like about it. So I want caffeine before I work out. I want to get a little up. I always work out in the evening. So I've already worked all day and done various other things. So I'm usually starting to wind down, and being almost 40, I like to have some caffeine to, be able to push myself in the gym, be more into it. Now, most of them do have something that helps with a pump. Citrulline, citrulline malate, arginine's kind of an old school one that converts to citrulline in the body, but that is also good because better pumps means better strength, better recovery. It just means blood's getting the muscle more effectively, which is pretty much better for everything, better recovery. So now, is it night and day difference? No. I say the most important thing about a pre-workout is the caffeine. Next would be the pump, and sometimes they put a little bit of creatine in there too. So you may get some there, but it's usually not a very high dose. A gram is a lot in a pre-workout, where 5 grams would be typically what you take. But a pre-workout is more of an optional thing. No one needs a pre-workout. You can say, well, I just like to drink a coffee. Works. I like to take an energy drink. That works too. You just don't get those pump things, but you get the caffeine. So that is good. And then something, now we're way down on the list, something like a fat burner. You don't ever have to have a fat burner. All they are stimulants. Just like the diet pill Adipex is an amphetamine. It speeds you up so you burn more calories. So hopefully that helps you lose a little weight. But, well, Adipex also kind of lowers your appetite as well. But amphetamines do that as one of the side effects, which can help if that's what your goal is. But also most of the over-the-counter fat burners are like caffeine or synephrine, bitter orange extract, it can be called in there. Ephedra is still in some, but they had to change the form of ephedra that's used, and it's not as effective as it once was. You can still get those kind of fat burners in some places. GNC and places like that don't carry ephedra anymore, but some of the mom and pop shops do. That would be really something that, does it help? Maybe. Are you burning extra 50 calories in a day? Maybe. So that can help. But usually it's just better to, get those 50 calories off by diet or exercise, cardiovascular exercise, something like that is a little smarter, easier, less expensive than paying for a fat burner that's not doing a ton. So that's more of like a very optional. We've worked our way down. And something else is vitamin deficiencies. You can take a multivitamin is a good idea. Take one that's a good one. Don't take a Centrum. Men, you don't need iron in your diet unless you've been told you need iron. It's actually not good for you. Younger women can take a multivitamin with iron, but sometimes that can upset your stomach. Any multivitamin you take, you should take with food. It works better with food. Fat soluble vitamins in there need, something in your stomach to work more effectively. So those would be, the top lists. A protein, if you're not meeting your protein goal. A carb powder, if you're not meeting your carb goal. Now remember, these are supplements. That's why I say if you're not meeting your goal, you can completely work out and be in amazing shape and never take a supplement a day in your life. They're not required. They're supplemental in name. A creatine is pretty good. I don't take a creatine myself. I've taken it before and I never really noticed much of a difference. And it also could be because I eat a lot of red meat. So I'm getting in a decent amount of creatine throughout the day. And then a pre-workout, which is my favorite supplement just because of the immediate effect on my workout. And better workouts mean better results. So that's why I like it. Is it necessary? Not necessarily. If you work out at night, I wouldn't recommend it. Although I work out probably 4 hours before bed, maybe, and I still have no problem sleeping. But some of you are more caffeine sensitive could, but I'm also taking caffeine a couple other times throughout the day. So I'm pretty tolerant to caffeine at this point. Fat burner is kind of the same thing. Has the caffeine in it to help burn more calories. May have some other stimulants in it, synephrine, bitter orange extract, ephedra, something like that. They're not a must. It depends. If you want to try to do everything physically possible and you're really, really, every little advantage you can get, sure, it's worth a try. Just remember, they do have caffeine in them. They're supposed to be taken in the morning usually. Usually they're broken into 2 doses, morning and around lunch. Caffeine's half-life's about 5 hours. That means it takes 5 hours for it to be cut in half into your body of its effectiveness. So that'd be something to think about. Until next time, hopefully that helps some people. And I'll talk to you guys later.